All right, so, yeah, like I said, things got a little frazzled this morning. So with this many people, I'd like to just sort of get an idea of what everybody's here to see. You're here to listen to about musicians, right?
No.
No? Magicians? Oh, I hear this all the time. No, actually, I have done it before where I said I'm a magician. They're like, oh, what kind of instrument do you play? So, what does everybody like to hear about today? We have 90 minutes. Are you just here to see the really good-looking magician perform? Or would you all like to learn a little something and be awesome, good-looking magicians on your own?
Learn.
Vote? Learn? Yeah, because I can do that in 90 minutes. Yeah, it took me 90 minutes to become a magician. Yeah. All right. Is anybody familiar with magic?
What?
Okay, yeah, everybody should be familiar with magic. You've all. Right? We've all done this, right? No, you have not? What? Come on. Okay, so the thing with magic is I am not a magic historian, so I will not be telling you too much about magic history. I'd be more than willing to make it up. You would know the difference anyway. But I've been doing magic since I was 8. I used to visit my uncle in Syracuse. He was getting his PhD, and one of his friends showed me a really cool card trick. That's how most youngsters get into magic. They see a really cool card trick, and I said, that was awesome. Can you show me? And of course, what does he say? No. Magician never reveals his secret. What? Okay, so I begged and pleaded, and I asked the gentleman, please, 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 show me how you did this, and he would not show me until the day that I was leaving. And he finally explained the effect to me, and I was like, that's awesome, so I went home. Oh, he made me promise to go home and practice, and so I went home and I practiced, and I was so eager to show all my friends, and it took about a week or so, because I couldn't wait. I figured out how to do the magic, and I went to my friends, I go, your card. This is your card. And they said, yeah, that was awesome. Can you do another one? No. Because I only learned one. And so, back pre-internet, I went to the library and got all the magic books and started studying it, learning all the magic. Back then, David Copperfield was a huge thing on TV, so I always watched Copperfield on TV, and I, used the VHS machine, tape it, rewind it, not like now where they can just click, click, click. Rewind it and watch it and reverse engineer how he does all the effects. I started learning more, and I thought, I am really good, because I'm doing David Copperfield stuff. At least card trick wise. All right, I wasn't on stage. I didn't have the props. So I thought, I learned everything there is to know about magic. And until I got into college, I went to UC San Diego. And one day, this gentleman was holding a magic workshop, very similar to this one. And he was showing us really, really advanced things that I never knew even existed. And I'll show you some of that in just a little bit. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I didn't even realize. I thought I was here, but in reality I was here and there was this much more magic to be learned. I went home and I practiced the things that he asked me. And one day along the campus, I met him again. I said, hey, check this out. Is this what you're talking about? And I had the coins on me. I had the cards on me. I used to always carry coins and cards on me all the time. He goes, wow, nobody's ever went back and practiced. And so he sort of took me under his wings and he started teaching me even more advanced stuff along with what he taught me. And thanks to him, I learned about the Magic Castle. Does everybody know what the Magic Castle is? Okay. I learned what the Magic Castle is, and one day I happened to be, I forgot if it was a Rouse or something like that. I had my cards, I was just practicing, walking through. And an older gentleman approached me and says, are you a magician? And I go, yes. And he goes, would you mind showing me something? And I showed him something. He goes, wow, that's really good. I have a party. Would you like to come by? It's up in Hollywood. And sure, why not? I was young. I was naive. And I said, sure, why not? And, this is back in the days when you didn't worry about stranger danger and all sorts of things. So I went to the party. It was really cool. And I got to perform for people. And he goes, and the guy that invited me says, you're really good. You should audition for the Magic Castle. I said, you talking to me? He's like, yeah, you're good. And so he explained the process, and he said that he's a member of the Magic Castle, and that you have to have a sponsor, and so he would sponsor me to audition. So I said, okay. So I go to the castle. That night that I auditioned was, at that time, one of the busiest nights. They had 14 people coming to audition. They usually have less than 10 or so. And so they had to split the group up. And so I'm sitting there in the audience and I'm watching. Oh, I had called earlier. I said, what do I need to do to audition? They said, you bring 10 to 15 minutes of magic. We'll take a look at it and we'll decide if you're worthy. They didn't say that, but that's pretty much what it was. I said, okay. So I brought my cards. I'm a close-up guy. I brought my cards. And I look around and I notice this guy had this giant chest of just stage props and things like that. And I look over here and this gentleman, he's working with stage props and stage props. Wait, was I supposed to bring stage props? I have this little deck of cards. Okay. How do I turn my close-up action into okay, so what I can do is I can do a magician's choice and then I can do, okay. So I started. And this really nice lady comes over. She goes, are you here for the audition? I said, yes. She goes, can you show me something? I go, sure. Here, would you take a card? And I go, oh, no. And I sprayed all the cards, and we decided to play 52 pickup right there. And she goes, no. Don't be nervous. It's okay. I go, but they all have these stage props. They go, no. You don't have to do stage act. You just have to show them that you're aware and understanding of the magic principles and so forth. Okay, relax me a little bit. Time for me to go in. I had 4 people in front of me. I remember Scott Smith. Does anybody know who Harry Blackstone is? Oh, yeah. Gay Blackstone, his granddaughter, was one of my judges. So you're doing magic for generations upon generations of magicians who've probably seen it all, and so they're nervous again. And they said, all right, here's what's going to happen. We're going to interview you a little bit, ask you a little about your background, ask about what you know, how you got into magic and so forth, and then we're going to ask you to perform. At any point, we may just say stop, then that just means that we've seen enough. No problem. Interviews are my specialty. I can sit and I can talk and I know how to impress people, not a problem. And sure enough, they asked me who's my inspiration, Paul Harris. I knew to name the unknown people, so that sounds like I'm really into the magic. And then said, all right, we've heard enough, would you mind doing something? Remember, I need 15 minutes worth of act, right? So I came prepared. Let's pick a card. Is this your card? Yeah. And so next, we've seen enough. I'm sorry? We've seen enough. I've done 2 minutes worth of act in one effect. And they cut me off right there. I come out and they go, how'd you do? And I go, I did pretty well. Excuse me, you were there for an audition. Did you do your whole act? Yes. Excuse me, you were here for the whole audition? Yes. Did you do your entire act? Yes. Yes. Now I'm worried again. So either I did really well, or I did really poorly. So I had to wait, I think it was about an hour and a half before they got through all the auditions, and then I got in. So thank goodness that was the happy ending to the story. And so I've been a member since. Unfortunately, I had to put my membership on hold because 5 years ago, my wife had twins. And that took up most of my time. But long story short, here I am. I think Janice has already said, I performed for different companies, and that's how I was able to perform for legendary filmmaker John Woo. That was a fun one. And yeah, it's been a wonderful experience. This is something that's really fun. It's always a great party start, conversation starter. You're just constantly bombarded, and people always remember you. When I do my introduction, I mentor here at the entrepreneurship program. I introduce myself as a magician, and everybody else remembers me as the magician, even though, you know, I prefer they to remember me for other things. But so we'll get started.
Is that a special deck of cards, or is it just a stock deck?
Just open.
Magician never reveals. No, I'm just kidding. So these are bicycle cards. They're normal cards. But when you say special, you're talking about what's called gaffed cards. So if you all can give me a second, I brought a set of gaffed cards for you all to see. So, everybody wash their hands, right? I say that jokingly, but one of the things about handling cards is that I'm gonna hand out a few decks, and I'm gonna try to allow everyone to sort of play and feel the decks out a little bit. So the beauty of magic, the magic of magic, is its simplicity. Yes?
What was the name of the cards that are special?
They're called, the generic name for them is called gaffed.
Gaffed?
Gaffed. G-A-F-T.
Do you want to put some things on here too?
Oh, no, it's okay. Thank you. So what you're going to feel is, do you guys play poker or bridge? Both. Okay. So I have some bridge cards and I have some poker cards. Bridge cards are slightly smaller, right? And the thing is, go ahead and feel free to just sort of do this with the decks. Okay, and just do this with the decks. You can shuffle them if you want. So this is a Maverick poker playing cards. This color is black. I usually use red backs. It's a personal preference. Red and blue are the general from Bicycle. Then I'm going to hand this out. You'll start to see that these things are a lot smoother when you do this. And the reason for that is then we can do fans. And a fan is basically, it's a practiced sleight. It's a flourish is what it's called. It's the ability to apply constant pressure throughout. If you have the older cards or those cards, if you try them, they'll end up looking like this. Because the cards stick. So the other thing is, if you notice these cards, they're old. And as you know with old cards, they get dirty and so forth. So one of the things that we do as magicians before we, not right before you practice, but before we perform, we wash our hands. Because we don't want them to get dirty. The other thing with this is that they fall on the ground. They don't become useless, but they pick up microparticles. And what happens is when we fan, you'll get like a break like that. And you'll know that one of these cards picked up some sort of dust particle, and it'll do this forever. So you kind of lose that ability to fan after that. So just a couple, so one-handed fans. Again, it's just lots of practice, just being able to flourish, to be able to do those sort of flourishes. Some of you might not be able to see in the back, but you can ribbon them. You spread them out. So to answer your question, sir, they're not special like here it is. So oh, that card is. The card is. You can show this. Like this. Cut somewhere where you like to, sir. Are you sure? Sure. Okay. Show everybody what that card is. Okay. The 9 of diamonds. Yeah. Okay. If you look, they all became 9 of diamonds. Oh. You know it's okay to clap, right? So these are called gaff decks. There's different types of gaff decks. I'm sorry, it is GAFF. Did I say GFT? It's GAFF. By the way, let me do a quick disclaimer. I'm not going to try to reveal too many magic secrets here. The reason being, the magic of magic really, like I said, lies in its simplicity. But it's really funny because when I learned magic, it took magic away from me. You guys understand what I'm saying? Right? Well, when I showed my kids, like, oh, you can move your thumb, they were amazed. Dad was Superman, being able to break his thumb and move it, right? But the minute you find out how it works, it's just kind of like,
Here's Dad.
right? So I do want to advise you that when you do learn magic, it's going to take some of it away from you, which is why I'm always hesitant to reveal some of the secrets. That's the first thing. I don't want to take that sense of awe away from you. The second reason I'm not going to reveal too many secrets is because a lot of people use this as their way of supporting their families and such. And if I take it away, then that's not fair to them. Okay? But do you guys know who the masked? Did you guys see the masked magician? There was a magician back in the 90s. He came on scene and he went on TV and he started revealing all the classics. How to cut a woman in half, the levitations, the flyings, all sorts of classic things that you've all seen. And the magic community was really divided. Half of the magic community was like, what are you doing? You're destroying our community. You're revealing secrets that should never have been revealed to the layman. And the other half started understanding why he was doing that. He had said on an interview, he said that what he wanted to do was to really disrupt magic and stop magicians from relying on the same thing, the same ideas, and start getting creative. One good friend of mine, he's the world champion magician. He's a young guy, 22, and he invented this whole thing with lasers. You can go on YouTube. His name is Jason Latimer, and he does this whole thing with lasers. I don't want to spoil too much, but basically he walks out on stage and he turns on this machine and a beam of laser goes across the screen. Takes off his jacket, puts it on a hanger. Nowhere to hang it. He hangs it on the beam of laser. You can see this on YouTube, but it's much better when he's in person. So it really started this new wave of magicians to rethink the old ways. So, but again, I don't want to reveal too much, but I will show you some of the things that I think, All right, so the way these gaff decks work is that they're cut differently. I'm not sure you can see it. There are two cards. The 9 of diamonds is cut about 1 millimeter smaller than the regular cards. And there are 9 of diamonds every other card. So you have a tall card, short card, tall card, short card, tall card, short card. So when you're flipping this way, you're actually getting just the tall cards. But if I flip it the other way, you'll see the short cards. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? See, now you're like, oh, that was it? Right? Oh, man. But the magic of magic is not in the technique, so to speak. I have a mentor, and he was telling me that magic to the audience is just a way to be amazed at something. So one of the more advanced techniques that I could teach all of you is called the top palm, and it looks like this. You all see it? No, because I just palmed the top card. You all see that? Okay. So I'll do it again. So it goes like this, and I just palmed a card. Right? Not amazed? That's fine. So this took many months. No. The ending's pretty bad. I'm going to need the sympathy for that. No, but this is an advanced technique where you're using what's called a pinky lift, and I'm using my pinky to literally palm into my hand. And how I would do, what I would do with that would be something like.
The 9 of diamonds.
That's right. So how you would do, let me do the angle here. Can you all see this card?
Yeah.
Okay, this way. We would do something like this, and do something called a color change. Okay, so you all see color changes before, but that's a basic use of it, right? But other uses of it would be if I hand this out to somebody to shuffle, I've already got a card palm in my hand, right? So that's a very advanced technique, but he was saying that you guys don't know it. So if I use a super advanced technique, you guys don't understand how hard it was for me. It's that I wasted 3 months of my life just to figure out how to do that, right? Whereas this, look, I was doing this and you're all like, uh-huh. But I did this and you're all like, woo! Right? So the magic lies in the simplicity, but the weird thing about the simplicity is that people think, oh, it's easy. Right? And so I get a lot of people, oh, here's another fun little fact. When I learned magic, my teacher told me that try to perform for women more. And nothing against the men here, because I know this doesn't apply to all of you. Men are less likely to believe in the magic. And I'm trying not to be stereotypical, but what generally happens is that, so one time I was performing at a school carnival, and this nice couple walks across, and I start, and the young lady was like, "Are you a magician?" I was like, "Yes." And can you do some? "Oh yeah, of course." So I started doing some magic, and she was elated. "Oh, I'm doing it, wow." And the whole time, her boyfriend, and then when I finish, he'd be like, so I got a little upset with the gentleman, and I said to the young lady, "Would you mind pretending to be the young lady? You can just sit right there, sir." So I said, "Oh, let me show you this really cool magic fact. May I see your hand, please?" Watch. Do you mind if I do this? Do you mind if I do this?
No.
Too late.
This does absolutely nothing. I just like doing this. So, of course, the young gentleman was not too pleased back, grabbed her, and took her away. But in the performance community, it's really interesting because with magic, people feel like they're part of the act and they have the right to grab things from your hand, to reveal secrets, to do whatever. Okay? So again, this is a device that I'm just trying to let you know, and hopefully this will really inspire you to enjoy the magic even that much more. I've had people take cards from me and just, "Well, let me see that." Okay, sure. I guess you can jump on stage when people is acting stuff out and just say things, but magic is one of the few performance arts that does that. Also, a lot of my kids do this too. So like I said, I'll do like color changes for them. It's very simple they're only 5. And my son will be like, "Let me try." "Why doesn't it work, Dad?" So again, the magic and simplicity, but today we're going to go to the other side. I'm going to show you the complexity of it, not to discourage you, but again, hopefully to show you what it means to be a magician. So, we'll start with this. Has everybody passed the cards around? Oh, and I'll pass these cards around. You can shuffle all the other decks, but the small one, please don't shuffle them because they're set up a certain way. Every other card is the 9 of diamonds, so if you shuffle them, it'll mess it up. Okay? So I'll pass these ones around. I'll also pass around. Here, I'll pass around some of the older ones. And I'm going to pass around some of these old cards. And if you all wouldn't mind, just again, go through them, just kind of feel them. They're really rough. you can try to fan them and they just won't fan nicely. Who has the red deck? The red back deck? Did I not have enough? Oh, I should have enough.
Maybe you can give it to me.
I'll hand out the red one here and I'll hand out the blue one on the other side. You can try fanning them, but this set that I'm going to give you, feel them, and then if you choose, I think I have some bridge cards here. Hold on to a couple of them. Hold on to a few, pass it down, hold on to a few, pass it down. Just from this set, okay? I'll start from the back. And by the way, feel free to ask questions. This is very informal.
I've had a guy out to the house for parties a couple times, and the patter
Yes.
is the best part of the act.
Ah, I haven't gotten to the pattern yet.
He's very clever.
So,
Making jokes.
do you guys know what the pattern is?
I was gonna ask that too. Is it the setup for the trick?
I like to think of it as a story. I'm going to do something on the board. With invisible ink, apparently.
They should just say it.
Magic.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the board is a little bit, but
Dirty.
there it goes. Okay. Can everybody see that?
No. Very.
Better?
Yeah.
The lines.
Okay. There are 4 squares on this board, supposed to be squares. I need each and every one of you in a second to secretly pick one of these squares. Now normally we would do it if we had a table flat surface, but what I'll then need you to do is just take your finger and point at it. Okay? If you can see, that's great. But in a second I'm going to add more things on here. Okay? For example, I'm going to add the circle. Do not pick the circles. Okay? So when I say start, you're going to put your hand on either this square, this square, this square, or this square. Does that make sense? Don't put your hand here. Okay? But when everybody has done, in fact, let's do that right now. Imagine to yourself which square you want. And you don't have to put your hand up just yet. Just pick this square, this square, this square, this square. Everybody done so? Don't tell me. Yes? Okay, I'm going to add things. Don't move yet. Okay. In a second, I'm going to ask you to move a set number of times. There's only one restriction. You can only move up or down, left or right. You cannot go diagonal. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So if you're here and I say move 3 times, you can choose to go 1, 2, 3, or hopefully that darkens it just so slightly. Okay? Or if you want to move 3 times, you can go 1, 2, 3. You can go back and forth, but you can only move up or down, left or right. Does that make sense? If you're down here, you cannot go, well, I'll go cross over and up to here. It's got to be connected, contiguous. All right? Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Wherever you start, take your finger and put it there now. Okay? Now, I'm going to ask you to move it 1 time. Go. Remember, you can move up, down, left, or right. Just move 1 time. Everybody ready? All right? Now, move it 4 times with me. 4 times with me. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody understand now? Except I'm going to make it a little bit harder now. I'm going to remove this square. Nobody was on the square, were they? No? Now, what I'd like you to do is move 3 times. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. Everybody got that? Nobody's here, are they? Nobody's here, are they? Good. If I do accidentally hit you, say something, okay? All right. So now, I'd like you to move. Let's make it easy. Move twice. Twice. Yes? Take this away. Now I'd like you to move 5 times. Here we go with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You took away mine.
I took away yours?
Yeah, you took away mine.
Oh.
Everybody's.
Yeah.
No.
No.
You didn't count right.
Now I'd like you to move once. So I will reveal this because this is David Copperfield's effect. So this is a mathematical property. You guys figured it out?
Yeah.
What is the property?
Modular arithmetic.
Well, yes, but what is happening here? So what happens here?
An even number of times you end up from a square to a square or a circle to a circle. When you move an odd number of times, you go from one shape to the other.
So I figured this out. This was one of the things I was talking about. When I was young, I saw David Copperfield did this, and I couldn't figure it out because he did this on live TV. And he did it to the camera, and he said, "Audience at home, do this." And he put this on the television screen, and he told us to come up and put our hands on the screen. And I listened to him, and I followed his direction, and he got me. And I was amazed. I was like, "How did he get me? He was all the way inside the TV." So I figured out I wasn't as smart as you guys, and it took me a while to figure out that this was a mathematical property. What happens is when you start here, on any of the squares, and you work with all the squares, if I tell you an odd number, you will always end up in a circle. Don't believe me? Start on any squares and go once, 3 times, or 5 times, and you will always end up here, here, or here. Does that make sense? See, I'm taking that magic away. So all I have to do is keep track. I don't have to know where you start. I just know that you started on a square, and then once I give you an odd or even number, I know where you're going to be or not be. So I started you off on a square, and I said you're going to move to an odd number. I said 1, which means you're going to, any of you would have been on a circle, which means I can then go ahead and erase any square. Does this make sense? Okay, so now, if you go home and do this, so, son, daughter, granddaughter, dog, cat, turtle, bird, wherever you decide to perform this to, if you go put your hand on any of these, move it around, it'll be cool, but it won't be as cool as what David Copperfield did. Does anybody know what he did this with? So it was on a special where he made the Orient Express, a car of the Orient Express disappeared. And the way that he themed it was that each of these was a type of car. The caboose, the passenger. So each of these cards were a different type of car. And the last one that we ended up at was the one that he made disappear. Right? So there was a whole theme, there was a whole pattern, there was a whole storyline that went with it. And it enhanced the effect rather than just, hey, put your hand on a circle and a square. And that's what this gentleman was asking about. The simplicity of magic is that you're following along the whole time, and you're listening to me tell a story, but the whole story reflects of usually the individual. So if I was just to go, right? It's not that magical. You're just like, he's made it. But if I was able to be mathematic and say, once upon a time, there was a prince and a princess, and they got together, there's an added element of that story that you sort of feel compelled to follow along. So that's called the pattern. It develops your character. It allows the audience to sort of be a part of your world. I've seen performers that are very silent. Right? Nothing's supposed to happen. I just wanted to show you. It's kind of boring where you're... No. Thank you. Thank you, though. But it's to me, it's kind of boring because you're just... Oh, okay. But I, as you can tell, I'm more of a comic relief sort of performer. I like to get the audience laughing. I like to get the audience involved. And then every once in a while, I'll intermix something like this. Would you mind helping me? What is your name?
Karen?
Can everybody give Karen a big round of applause? Karen, we have not met before, right?
No.
You seem really happy about that. That's okay. That's fine. Okay. All right, Karen. So it's not like we planned this or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Karen, what I'd like you to do is, first of all, I want you to notice that I've taken out a card, and now I'm going to ask the question, Karen. Would you mind, think of a card, not the ace. Ace is too easy. Everybody's like, oh, you guessed the ace. So think of a card, maybe something that's symbolic of you, because we've never met before. Would you mind naming the card that you thought of, please?
3 of hearts.
3 of hearts. Is that a random card, or is that symbolic of something?
Random.
Random. Okay, that's fine. Sir, I'd like you to think of a card, also not the aces.
Right.
Think of a card. And again, I want to... Yeah, I can tell you. All right, so once again, I'm taking the card out. Name the card?
10 of diamonds.
The 10 of diamonds. Again, did she just change the card on me? Random card or?
Random.
Random card. All right. So, Karen, we haven't met before. I didn't tell you to pick the 3 of hearts. I'm sorry, your name, sir?
Jim.
Jim, I didn't tell you to pick 10 of diamonds. Right. So if this was the 10 of diamonds and 3 of hearts, would you all break out a big round of applause?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure? What, you see this all the time? Well, that's fine. You don't have to clap because I didn't do it anyways, because that is really hard to do. Mentalism is not my specialty. Because the likelihood of that happening, if you think about it, is 1 out of 52 times 1 out of 52, right? So, Ed? Yeah. Yes, 1 out of 52. You're right. You're right. Good. I'm checking your own math, and you're doing great. Ed, do me a favor, go like this. Touch any card you want. Name a card, please.
Okay.
No, name it out loud.
10 of diamonds.
10 of diamonds. Ooh, Ed, you were close, but you're wrong. Now, I'm not trying to be mean to Ed. I just want to show you that mentalism is hard. Right? Because again, I mean, it's like a less than 2% chance, right? But you did great, Ed, because I was thinking of the 9 of diamonds. Yes, put it there. Wow. You don't believe me? Well, if you think about it, there's only 1 9 of diamonds in this deck, right? Its location is very unique.
Maybe.
Above the or below the 9 of diamonds, there's a card. Karen, just take this card out, but don't turn it over just yet. Just hold that card. Below the 9 of diamonds is 1 card, or in your case, 1 card. Earlier, you were thinking of the
3 of hearts.
and you were thinking of the
10 of diamonds.
I was thinking of this one because that's the one that was wedged between, turn it over, the 3 of hearts, turn it over, the 10 of diamonds. Thank you. You all thought I messed up, huh? So that was the pattern, right? It looked like I was stumbling, and ta-da, right? Not every magician uses that. There are a lot of magicians that have been practicing a lot longer than I have. They're known as card mechanics. You guys know what those are? What does a mechanic do? They fix things. So a card mechanic fixes card games. So a good friend of mine, what he does is he actually works for casinos, and he looks at their anti-fraud, thank you, anti-fraud, how they can view people that are stealing from the casinos and so forth. So they do some really incredible stuff. But here today, it's not about me. It's about you. Oh, does everybody get cards? I'm going to pass these around. These are, okay, so if you, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't palm stuff because my hand's really small. These are bridge cards. They're smaller. And and these are poker cards. They're both, you can play with either one of them. I'm going to pass around. Hold on to about 2 or 3 of these cards, please. So take 2 or 3. It doesn't matter the face value or anything like that. Just take 2 or 3 of them. Hold on to them, pass it out. So I'm going to show you some stuff you can do at home.
That's a downstairs. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
As the cards are being passed out, remember, it doesn't matter the face value. If you want to try the difference, you can. I have enough for everybody. So you can take some poker cards, some bridge cards, try different ones, just see what works best. And after this, these cards will be yours to keep, so you can practice at home. And it's a souvenir. You're welcome. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn, oh, by the way, I'm a big close-up guy. There's a guy by the name of Di Vernon. He's called the Professor. He literally invented a lot of the effects that I do. He always said that the true magic lies with close-up. And the reason for that is I walk around with a deck of cards, and again, all these cards are normal bicycle playing cards, except I just won't play poker with them because, as I said, I don't want them dirty. I don't want them to get bent or anything like that, which is also why what we're about to do, I'm giving you old cards to do. So if you have a nice deck at home, don't be doing this with your nice cards. You have old cards to do this. But the nice thing about close-up is that you can literally hand out the deck and show them, this is a normal deck of cards, this is my deck of cards, this is your deck of cards, whatever. But with stage magic, people are always like, can you cut a woman in half? And I'm like, if I could, then my wife would be pretty unhappy with me all the time, right? So stage magic does has its restrictions, right? I don't have to tell you guys that there's a prop, right? I'm not taking the magic away from everyone, am I? Okay, good. So there's a prop, and I have to set up the prop in order to do that, right? It's not like I can ask Karen to come up here and just cut her in half. That's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something called card manipulation, which is we're going to manipulate the cards to do stuff. One of the things that we can do is we can make the card disappear. Okay? Thank you. One person. That's fine. Tough crowd, I get it. I'll win you over at the end. Okay, so it goes like this. Now, before we go into how to do this, there's a couple things you have to understand. This took me 2 days to learn. All right? Again, I'm not trying to discourage you, I'm just letting you know. The thing with magic, like I said, the simplicity of magic is what makes people have a false sense of means. We go home and like, check this out. I learned something cool. This guy taught me. Hold on. Watch. Wait, I'll get it.
I get it.
Thank you, sir. So, again, please practice. And once you can do it, it'll be a different story doing it in front of a live audience. Okay? Trust me on this. So, the second thing is, not only when you practice, you have to practice your angles. Watch. Check this cool card trick out. Haha. The card's gone. Do you guys like that? Yeah. Okay? Now, I exaggerated slightly, but if my angle's just a little bit off, those four will have completely missed the whole magic. Okay, so what it looks like is this. Okay? And we're not going to start from here, because starting from here is a little bit more advanced because it requires you to get into a position that's a little bit harder. So, what we're going to do is fold the card slightly. You can bend it, and you can crease it if you want. It doesn't help it too much, but just bend it along the long way. Okay? And I'll do it with jokers. Well, the reason I like holding on to my jokers. So I'll do it with the back. So it doesn't matter if you do it either way, but if you want, I bend it with into the back of the card. Okay? So if you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to do like a rock out, right? And see this, what do you call this? The joint?
Crease.
The crease, thank you. The crease on your pointing finger and the crease on your first finger. Basically, you're going to put your cards so that the crease almost makes like a line straight down like that. Everybody have that? Now, majority of the card should be in the back. It should not be in the front like this. It should be pushed to the back. Everybody have this? So your thumb should be holding onto your two fingers. So you hold it like this. Okay, like this. So the crease is in water. You got that? Okay? All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze down, and these two fingers are going to come out. And you covered up your card. There you go, sir. There you go. Now, here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. This might happen. If that happens, it's okay. It's okay. So we'll do it again. If you're finding that it's hard to hold on the card when you pop the two fingers out, hold on to the card right in the middle. Okay? So when the two fingers come out, you're just going to push the card out. Now, you say, well, there's a flash right here. It's called a flash, because you're seeing the card. Don't worry about the flash for right now. Okay, I'll show you how to get rid of the flash. And then, if you can do that, the two fingers goes behind and pushes the card, so we're showing the card. And so the action is just this. Close, open, close, open. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, you do it enough times, the card will pop out. It's a natural thing, just because there's no actual hinge built in here. So the card will pop out, and that's okay. You just reset, close, open, close, whoops, see? It does pop out. But all you need to do it is once. So you go, look, the card's gone. Okay? Now, but I got this big old flash right here. People are going to see my card. The way to prevent that is when you are starting, you're going to want to figure out where exactly you push the card to. You generally push it in the back. The further back you push it, the less card that will flash. But if you push it too far back, that happens. So you'll have to find your spot of where that will work.
So that's not right.
No, that is right. That is right. But you want to keep your hands closed. Because if you open it, then they'll be able to see the card. So you want to close your hand.
But So you must have to
Bend
bend
it the other way. Oh,
bend the
that's
card a
right.
whole lot more. Well, I already
No,
started.
bend it the other way. Or turn the card around. Yeah, bend it this way.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. See, that, the reason for the bend is that it'll curve around your fingers. Yes.
It's hard to do that with osteoarthritis.
I apologize, but isn't it also good exercise? Is it good exercise? No? Okay, well, you just have to do it once. You don't have to keep doing it, but you do have to keep doing it for practice. So once this is it. Now, how do I?
What brings it back?
The two fingers just comes out, comes in, and pushes it out. There, like that. Now the two fingers come in, and top. The two fingers come back. Hold them in like this. There you go. Now push them out back out. There you go. Yes. Yeah. You're gonna go. You're gonna basically pull your fingers in.
Show from end on what you're doing.
From here.
Yeah. No, point your hand toward us.
Like this.
Yes.
So there's a covering. So basically the finger comes from here to here, to here, to here. Make
Gotcha.
sense? We're doing this. It's a finger stretching exercise. It's finger yoga. Does that feel better that way? Does it feel better that way? Does that make sense? All right. So once you can do that, you say, well, but I still have this. There's a couple ways around it. Number one, like I said, practice. Number two, you're doing this. Look, it's gone. The problem is now you just have to wait forever. Until they look away and they're like, oh, look, it's back. It's gone. Right? Now, there are times when it's too big that even this won't help, right? So again, you have to find that sweet spot where it's, right? Now, here's what happens. You're going to be nervous. You'll be like, oh, I don't want them to see it. Look, it's gone. You can't see the card. Well, nobody can see the card at this rate, right? So the whole thing is, again, finding that sweet spot where you're comfortable with just going, The second thing to look out for is what we call the telltale thumb.
Yeah.
It's a rigid thumb, and it's a natural reaction. It's a built-in instinct that we have, and our thumb pops up because this is a very unnatural position. We're not used to holding stuff here. We're used to doing this. But when we're trying really hard to hold it because you're afraid that card's going to pop out, your thumb will go boom. And that looks really unnatural. Look, I'm doing shadow puppets. It's a dog, right? So again, you want to be able to get it so that it's just very natural, right? Once you've gotten it, once this becomes very natural, right? And if you want, you can always do it with the top. Right? Again, the beauty of magic is that you can, it's your story that's going to help captivate them. In the very beginning, it won't be this. Because they're going to go, do it again, and they're going to be like, oh man, now you're going to see it. Because I can only do it once because my osteoporosis. Right? But there's a whole thing that you want to lead up to it. And then what you want to be able to do is that if you really do that well, you can do this. Now, it's the same principle. But the thing is, because I have so many cards to clip, I actually clip them like this. This won't help. But when I pull up the first card, you know what that card's doing?
Hiding.
It's hiding them from me.
Yeah.
See that? And then when I throw the card, because I'm in movement, again, you won't see it, and the second one hides it from me. And then I can do that, and then do that, and do that. I've done as many as, I think, 7 cards, but there's people that can do more, but there's also special, in that case, you would need a special file down card that are thinner, then you can, where they would just pull the whole thing and then they would just fan it. So, again, many months wasted of their lives wasted. Yeah. So that's one, and you can go home and you can practice it. So again, start from here. Don't start from here. Start from here. And all it is push down, fingers come out, fingers go back. Fingers come out, fingers go back. That make sense?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you play a musical instrument?
I used to be a flautist, but this was...
You got the dexterity for it.
Ah, okay. So, the things I hear are, I get the dexterity for it. I jokingly, but I'm serious. I used to sit at home. I did this for hours.
Yeah.
So, not to say I don't have the dexterity for it, but I feel like you can all do it. It's just you got to spend a lot of time practicing in front of a mirror so that you can also see the angles and so forth. You have to be able to see how far you can go before you reveal it. You have, because right now I don't care because I'm showing you guys this, but I know that right here it's bad. But the other problem is also, I also have to know that I'm totally clear back here, but then they still can't see it because I have this in the way. So it's a whole thing of being able to manage your environment and so forth. But thank you. So there's another one that you can do. This is more of a flourish, boomerang cards. So the idea is you throw the card up and you catch it. Again, I used to sit at home. I kid you not. I have a stack of these, and this is what my living room floor looked like. Because there's just these cards that I can't catch it.
So you don't play the flute anymore because you have no time.
Yeah, and when I was growing up, the only reason I chose to take the flute because I rode my bike to school, and I thought that the smallest instrument would be the easiest instrument to play. I was wrong. Also, I didn't realize that to play the drums, you just have to carry drumsticks. I thought you carry the drums everywhere you went. If I had known that, I would have been a percussionist. But yeah, so that's one thing. And again, a lot of these are, you start off with just simple flourishes, and people love flourishes. So this is a 26 it's 26 cards here, 26 cards here. So I just cut it perfectly in half. And the reason I know that is because I did what's called a perfect shuffle, which is I put the cards perfectly in every other card. You see that? See that? Oh, perfect shuffle. I'll do that again. Thank you. So, there, it's perfectly half. Every other card. Oh, I missed one. There it goes, there, perfect. But yeah, it's every other card. All right. So again, many a night. Nope, nope, too much. Oh, does that work? And then you just play with it. I cannot do this, however, with the older cards because once again they stick. The brand new cards, brand new bicycle cards, nice and slippery, allows me. Now the cutting in half allows me to put just enough pressure so that I can slide, and the cards just slide into each other basically, knowing the right pressure.
As one of our magician friends once said, evidence of a misspent youth.
So I did not take magic as seriously until college. That was when I discovered girls like magic. So I wouldn't consider it misspent because, well, I would say magic helped me date my wife, but being able to take her to the Magic Castle the very first date, that's always a plus. But the thing about magic is, like I said, well, magic helps me on different levels. Number one, I have the manual dexterity to do different things. Number two, I'm not afraid to get up to speak. Public speaking has never been an issue. I can always use magic to diffuse whatever I need to do. I do professional speaking, so whatever I do, I try to incorporate some magic. And magic, it's just cool. Right? People, like I said, you always say, you're a magician, do something. So, I'll show you a couple of palms. So this is the classic palm, and the way the classic palm works is you use the crease on that pointing finger again, and you hold it right onto the muscle, the fatty part of your thumb. Okay? And so that's just your classic palm. A couple of things you want to be aware of the classic palm. The first one you already know, which is the thumb. It needs to be this way. So, remember when I told you this gentleman in college taught me a lot of stuff? One of the things he taught us was you walk around with a palm card, so your body becomes used to this idea of there's a card in your hand, so your thumb's not going, get out of there. And you just walk around just like this, and you would walk around like that, like so. Okay? The second thing you want to be aware of is this. Another natural thing for us to do is, other than the thumb being stiff, our fingers will want to be stiff, and then that creates, again, the flash. It flashes the card to other people. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the classic palm is always great because then you can always go up to your granddaughter and, look, there's a card behind your ear, right? There's obviously lots of uses for it. Like I said, when you get more into advanced things, you then learn to use your pinky to get you into the classic palm, right? But there's different palms for different needs. There's something called the Tenkai palm. Okay. I'll show you again. Okay. This is hard to do. So in this case, because I have to wipe my hand and I do show the fingers, I have to do a different palm, and it's called a Tenkai, which is a classic is this, and it prevents me from holding my hands. The Tenkai is I'm using my thumb now, and the meaty part toward the pinky, I guess, to hold it like this. And this allows you to do certain things like a wipe. I don't like this because this is very, very angle specific. Janice, can you see the card?
No.
No? Okay, yeah. So it's very angle specific. If I do this slightly, I think you all can see the card now, right? So it's very, very tight on what you can show. So this, but this is a good one because if you ever see anybody go, oh look, it's gone, or oops. I got lots of cards.
It's gone.
So it's gone, and then they pull it from elsewhere. It's a Tenkai, right?
Do
The
cards
Tenkai.
ever go up the sleeve, or is it always a palm?
I don't like sleeving. Can you? Yes. I don't like sleeving because that's the first question. What's up your sleeve? Right? So generally I like to roll on my sleeve to show that I don't have anything. Oh, yeah. Show you this. If I take this. Ah, there it is. So, trying to see where people can see this. Shoot it, magic ray. It's gone. There you go. I'll do this one. Yeah, I'll do this one first. Can you all see? Or did I just do that for myself? So, here we go. Which hand is corner? Look. It's actually right up here. If you look, there. So, So I wanted to show you. So when you're learning your palms, what it goes into is you can learn to palm other things. So remember the classic palm? There's a classic palm for coins too. This is the classic palm. It's the same thing, except I don't need to go all the way from here to here. I just clip it with these two fingers. A good use of the classic palm would be, look, oh, it's gone, right? But then again, you're stuck, which is why you usually get out by reaching behind your ear and pulling it out, right? So again, normally what happens is people go, it's gone, oh, right? But it's got to be it's a very timed, sensitive thing that you have to practice. You got to be able to let them see that there's nothing there, and you got to be able to relax without being like, oh, here's the other thing to do. Look, it's gone, right? But they're guarding it, right? Don't look here. But clearly it's right in the center of your mask, so they're going to look here. So what you want to be able to do is go, blow it. Oh, it's gone, right? Where did it go? Now, by the time they go, oh, it might be near the hand, that's when you have to be able to reach out. So that's possible. Yes?
Are you going to talk much about controlling where people are looking to your needs?
Thank you for bringing the next one. Before I do though, so the other thing is when you're working with cards, coins aren't an issue. When I work with rings aren't an issue, thank you. But when I work with coins, you have to be careful. You also want to be careful because sometimes you're worried that the card gets caught in your ring. Could happen. It's not very likely. Okay, so everybody else, so magic, we got pattern, you got to develop your story, who you are. You could be the bubbly magician, that's what I like. I like making people laugh. You could be the serious magician. Right? Doesn't work for me, but it works for some. Find out what works for you, have a story to go with it, and the story always will enhance it. Then you got to practice your moves. Right? Right? If you have somebody named Jack as a relative, say, look, I'm going to make Jack disappear and brought back. Right? It adds a little more flavor to it. And then along with the angles, there's obviously where you want people to look. This sounds easy, but it's a very inadvertent thing that you're going to figure out how to do after you do enough practice. Because here's what's going to happen. It's easier with the coin. When I'm palming, like I said, when I'm palming, the tendency is because we're stressed as to not have people see what we want them to see, where's our focus at? It's on the hand that's actually clipping it because you're like, don't look. You know what happens when you don't look? They all look there. So one of the weird things that you learn is, again, even though magic tends to take magic from you, you have to start believing that you're doing magic. So you have to believe that the coin is there, not here. Does that make sense? So they call it misdirection, but my mentor taught me it's not misdirection, it's direction. You're telling them exactly where you want them to look. But that's, like I said, it's an inadvertent process because most people are like, right? They're trying to figure out. But by the time you're performing, it's already either natural to you of knowing where your angles are, or it's already too late, you've already flashed it and it's gone anyways. So it doesn't really matter. So you want to practice doing this. And notice my hand goes down, right? Because naturally so a good way to practice this is you do this. Where's the hand? Where's the coin? Well, which hand? This one, right. You want to be able to, see, I'm giving you a tell. Where's the coin? So you want to be able to do it so many times that the reaction's the same. Does that make sense? So that it's not when I palm it, or when I palm it, versus when I don't palm it, right? In fact, it's actually messing me up because I'm trying to. But yeah, so does that make sense?
Yeah.
You want that reaction to be the same whether you palm or don't palm, right? And again, lots and lots of hours of just staying in front of a mirror, and it helps sometimes. Sometimes it helps if your spouse watches. Sometimes it doesn't. Because they'll be like, oh, I see it. Like, wait, I'm practicing. But yeah, so you can, the mirror is good. But you also, if your mirror is here, sometimes you want to practice looking at it this way to see what it looks like from that angle. Right? So, classic palm. Right? I'm sorry, this is the clip palm. The classic palm looks like this. This is the classic palm. Inside the palm of your hand. Now again, this is one of these things where it's really, really unnatural because you have the coin. So the guy taught me you walk around with a clip coin in your hand and you actually shake people's hand with it. Now you don't go in for the full-on palm-to-palm touching shake. You have to be able to do it where you're kind of just like grabbing their hand without them feeling it, but it's got to feel natural. And I walk around campus like this for probably 2 weeks or so before it felt natural to me. And then when I saw him, I said, oh, look. You do hands with it. Anybody do the corner walk? Again, a manual dexterity exercise. Yeah, but again, the beauty of magic is if you incorporate this with, look, where's it walking to? Where's it walking to? No, look, it's gone. Oh, it's gone. Right? If you incorporate it, they can't really tell where magic ends and where magic begins. So they're always good things. What was the other thing I wanted to show you guys? Are you guys having fun?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yes. No rope. No rope. But I have a specific thing for this rope. So rope is. A good rope magician has some really amazing things, but I'll show you the rope thing that I do for stage. This is a cool one for kids. Sir, which one is this? So basically, you take a ring and normal ring. Guys here, pull on the ring. Pull on the ring, make sure it doesn't come inside or anything like that. It's a solid ring, yes?
Yes.
There's no holes or anything like that on the ring, right? Yes, everyone. All right, so what we do is we twist it to put a loop around it, right? And then we'll loop it the other side. So now there's two loops, one on this side, one on this side. Does that make sense? So now it's doubly looped on. But if we actually pull that off, right? This is what's called this is what's called a self-working effect. Okay? And it goes like this. You twist the ring, okay? And then you loop the other side. Now there is a trick to this part that's very, very important. Yes, which side the loop goes on. The loop must match the loop on this end. What's going to happen, you can see, what's going to happen is you see this string right here? You pull away from that string because this is going to come out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, would you mind holding it again? When you twist it, again, it doesn't matter which way you twist. Just make sure your loop matches. Because if it does not match, hold on, wait, it won't work, right? which again requires practice, because when you first start practicing, you're so nervous, you forget which way to twist and things like that. So you practice with that. Another fun. Okay.
Oh.
No? Do it again. Do it. Ah! There.
Okay.
See that? The loop went through. Okay? This one you have to practice. Okay? If you looped it right, the reaction is your pinky comes off, but your pinky snaps back. So if you do it fast enough, it looks like the loop went through. Does that make sense? But if you loop it wrong, you won't lose it. It'll be right there, hanging the wrong way. But it's not lost. They'll reattach it. Okay? So on this one, the loop goes out. Yeah, it goes out. Okay? And then slowly when you practice, okay. Again, please practice this with care if you're going to do that. I prefer you do the ring because you can have new rings. I'll show you the rope.
You musicians keep track of other musicians, what happened to them? Like, I've not seen street musicians lately on TV. He used to be the block dog. He used to take watches out through glass cages and, glass.
David playing.
And
Oh, okay. We don't, it's not like we have a camera at home and we're keeping
no,
tabs on them.
obituary.
But we do know, usually if you're involved in the community, like if we go to the Magic Castle, and it's a gathering of all the magicians, and we'll talk. I happen to know, who's a good friend of mine, the world champion magician, and so I know what's going on with him. I'm keeping tabs with him and so forth. But David Blaine's, I've never friended, so I'm not sure. But people will tell me.
David, what's his last name?
Blaine's.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
He's still around, yes. As I said, I'm a close-up magician, so I follow close-up magicians more closely. Street magicians are very different. They not only have to be good at their craft, they have to be good on the street. Because when you perform on the street, it's a whole different ballgame. You guys have been awesome, you guys have been super respectful and everything. I would not survive out in the street. They will eat me alive.
One of the tricks he did had a number, and it appeared on the side of a car driving by.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Again, a lot of it is the pattern, the build-up, and practice. I'll leave you guys with this. Can you guys see this? I did this for a construction company, so that's why all the major as I'm doing this, who knows how to shuffle really, really well?
I don't.
I could check.
Then I don't want to. You make sure to shuffle that up real well.
Don't play cards with her. I don't.
Right?
Just kidding.
Oh, that's what I was wearing. There it goes. You shuffle it well?
Yes.
I was doing this for a construction, it's a Chinese American construction professional. That's what it was. So what I did was, I talk about how, like I said, magic is about believing, and that for me, magic is the ability to instill awe in people again, especially in this day and age when, due to technology, due to the advent of the internet and science and so forth, people sort of start believing. And I really hope that what I'm able to do is help people believe that there's higher beings or higher powers and so forth. And hopefully, I've done a little bit of that with you all today. But I do want to show that one of the things when I perform magic is I try not to make it about me. When I do magic, I discovered that if I find your card, people go, yeah, you're supposed to, otherwise you're the weird guy with the deck of cards. Just walking around trying to make people pick cards. And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it shouldn't be about me finding cards, it should be about you guys finding cards. That way if it doesn't work, it's your fault. Right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
We don't
Sir, so Janice shuffled. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to we're going to use a makeshift table. And I just simply want you to lift up half the deck and put it there. You're making a cut, basically. Put it down. Then I want you to mark the deck by turning this sideways and put it in on top of that. Yes. Okay, now you, I don't want, here, put your hand on top of it. Both hands covered. Covered. Cover it. There you go. Don't let anybody near it. Okay. Sir in the back in the red, can you see these?
Yeah.
Call out 6 or 7 of them.
Space Needle, Taj Mahal, Machu Picchu, Leaning Tower of Pisa, Metropolis.
Leaning Tower of Pisa. And what was the other one?
Metropolis.
So, we've got Metropolis, we've got Leaning Tower of Pisa, we've got Machu Picchu, we've got Taj Mahal, we've got Space Needle, yes? I'm sorry, your name, sir?
Steve.
Steve, we did not meet prior to this. I did not tell you to pick any of these. Nope. These are the ones that Steve picked. We're going to narrow them down just a little bit. Sir, out of those 5, would you pick 2 or 3?
Space Needle, Machu Picchu, and Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Have we met prior?
No.
No. Do you want to change your mind? Because I don't want you to go home and be like, I should have changed my mind because that guy was controlling me and I'm going to fight. No?
No.
Okay. So we're going to be left with Space Needle, Machu Picchu, and Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yes.
Young lady right here, would you mind picking one of these, please?
Space Needle.
Great, and then sir in the back, pick one.
Me?
Sure.
Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Would you hand this to the gentleman in the back that chose it? Don't open it just yet. Sir, there are 4 suits in the deck of cards, hearts, diamonds, clubs, and clovers.
What? Clovers.
Clubs. The youngsters call them clovers because they have no idea what a club is, apparently. Would you mind naming 2 of them for me, please?
Puppy's feet.
Puppy's feet, yes, puppy's feet, yes.
Diamonds and spades.
Diamonds and spades. Again, I don't want you to walk out of here and be like, would you like to change any of them?
No thank you.
Correct? Sir, standing up, would you mind picking one of them, please?
Spades.
Are you sure?
No, let's make it diamonds.
Are you sure you don't want this original one?
No, I want the diamond.
You sure?
It's part of the pattern.
side. Would you mind looking at that? And there should be a number or a letter in there. What number is that? 6. You pick diamond. Sir, move your hand. Move your hand. Both hands. Both hands. Sorry, hands. Show everybody what card that is. Hold it way up high. And if it works, give yourself. No, the top card. Top card. There you go. Top card. Hold it up. Hold it up. Oh, you guys did that! Give yourself a big round of applause! Come on, that was awesome. We should go on the road. You guys are great. Okay. Thank you all very much for having me. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, my name is Chini. If you did, my name is David Copperfield.
Could I also offer that Shini is one of our mentors at Mahalo, the School of Entrepreneurship. So he gives his time, in addition to entertaining us, he mentors teams of students. So let's give him a hand for that.